And good evening, everybody. So it's been a while since I've done one of these, but tonight I'm going to be doing my tournament report for the Star Wars CCG 2024 World Championships. It just happened uh, 2 weekends ago. Wow. It's been a while, like I said, since I've done one of these. You might know me as Dance Take Leon, also known as Detour Tag 1. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I don't know where to start, but I guess we should start at the beginning. So, I was born. No, I'm joking. I'm not going to go that far. But I will start going to give a quick rundown of like how I prepared for the event, what decks I chose, why I chose the decks, the event itself, and then the after effects. Recently in Star Wars CCG, the previous event that I actually played at was called the 2024 Eclipse event that occurred out in Indianapolis back in April. The event kind of went how I expected it to for me. I went 3-1 with light side, and then I went 1-3 with dark side. For light side, I played 0 hour, and for dark side, I ended up going with Agents of Black Sun. So fast forward a couple months. So since then, I haven't really gone to any majors. I've been playing on and off with the online championship series, or the OCS. I've also been playing in the retro league this year, so I've been playing a lot of retro games. And on top of that, I've been playing local events in the Corellia League, the Pittsburgh League. So it's been a kind of a normal-ish year for me when it comes to Star Wars CCG. But being that Worlds was in Bochum, Germany this year, and I knew a lot of people were going, a lot of people were really excited about the event as a whole, I decided to go. So to start with that, so I planned on going, bought a plane ticket, reserved a hotel room, did everything that you would normally do beforehand. So the weeks that led up to the event were probably the most interesting weeks because, again, deciding on what to play is kind of a choice for me. Like I wasn't locked in. The meta itself was screaming Hitco. It was screaming Revenge of the Sith, Maul. It was Revenge of the Sith Vader. A lot of those types of decks. So a lot of like mains types of decks. And I've gone on record a few times saying that mains decks are not the types of decks that I normally like to play. But for the first time in a while, I decided, you know what, I'm going to go with something that bucks the trend. So I decided to go with, for Dark Side, I went with Revenge of the Sith Maul. So I know that there was I played last year the SSA version of the deck where you start Maul's Hot, or Maul, the Desert Landing Site. And I decided to go with that because I had a few reps with it. I played it a little bit during the OCS, and it seemed like a deck that had a lot of lines against some of the main decks, especially against like a deck like Hitco or QMC. And at that point, I felt like I had the best lines with those decks. So that was one of the decks I decided to take with me. The other deck that I went with was Revenge of the Sith Vader. I played that at the Indoor Grand Prix last year, and I had some reps with it. It felt like it was a good spot. Some of the cards that came out for it were really good. I'm showing the Revenge of the Sith Maul deck that I played, so kind of the standard deck. And for that deck, I went with Joe Olson's variant from Continentals because I liked that it included the senses. I liked the tricks that it had in the deck. So, and it just felt like a very open-ended, had a lot of lines against certain stuff type of a deck. So I felt pretty good with it. For the Vader deck, I just took I took I believe it was a mix between Taco Bill's and Greg Shaw's variant from Continentals, and I wasn't necessarily sure I was going to play that on day one, but I wanted it just to have with me. Light side was something else though. Right off the bat, my teammates, one of my teammates, Mr. Anthony Batmouse Howard, decided that he was like, well, if you're expecting these types of decks, one of the best decks out there to play against it is Bat 40. Bat 40 is Anthony's Y40 or Yavin 4 operations deck that he has mixed in to make it look like a Yoda community deck. So he plays fully immune Jedi council members, so fully immune Mace Windu, fully immune Qui-Gon Jinn, Serene Jedi, plays splashes in Rey with lightsaber, plays the Jedi lightsaber V's, and he convinced me into taking that with me, so I built that. Robbie Hendon, who's working with the Killer Bees or Batmouse and Friends, posted a WAP deck. We have a plan, and me being me, I decided, you know what, I'm going to build a WAP because it's one of my favorite decks. I just want to take it with me. If I'm going to Worlds, I should take it with me just because. And then the last deck I chose was the deck that I've been playing the most, which again, like I said, was Zero Hour. Zero Hour, I played it most recently at a tournament. The only loss that I had with it was was Court of the Vile Gangster, being played by Chris Kelly. And the main reason that I lost that game at the Eclipse event was I made a line that were very risky, very bold. I threw Leia Rebel Princess down to the audience chamber. Chris didn't have Now Hutta, so Power of the Hutt V didn't come into effect, so I was able to blank his ability there, cancel Scum and Villainy, and I felt kind of good. So that's why I lost with that deck. So I was feeling kind of good with it. I feel like I had some good reps with it, and it felt pretty good. Again, here's the deck that I took with me, and I played over there. Again, all these decks are on the PC's website, so if you're going to go check them out, please do. And like I said, I felt really good with the decks. Excuse me. So, but Zero Hour and WAP were more of, I'm just taking these. I feel like I want to have fun. I'm going to play Bad 40. I'm going to have fun, and we'll see what happens. My mindset going in was, I just want to have fun. It's Germany. It's Worlds. Why not? Oh, excuse me. So, and funny enough, before going over there, I found out that Kevin Yap was doing a Star Wars Unlimited Twin Suns event on Friday. And funny enough, that's what I was actually more prepared or more worried about. I wanted to do well at that because I've been playing Star Wars Unlimited for a while now. And I felt like Twin Suns was something fun. It was enjoyable. And I actually built 4 decks for that. That's the game I was actually... That was the event at Worlds, Star Wars CCG Worlds, that I was more trying to get ready for. That just side event, not even the main event for Star Wars. That was the event that I actually wanted to get in and play. So, looking back, it's just kind of funny to me. But I took 4 decks for that, and I took the deck that I've been playing for Star Wars Unlimited just to have another deck. So I took 5 Star Wars CCG decks and 5 Star Wars Unlimited decks. Decided on what I was going to play. Packing was an afterthought. Like I talked to everybody. I talked to Hayes Hunter, Tommy, Lodge Polg about packing, and everybody suggested just take a suitcase, a small carry-on suitcase, and a backpack. Heck, just take a backpack if you could. So got my stuff together, got my animals together, took them over to my sisters, my brother-in-laws. They were watching my animals, so big props to them for doing that. And yeah, I hopped the plane and took off for took off for 6 days, no, 7 days for work, Monday to Tuesday, so that way I could go do it. And boarded my plane over to Amsterdam. So I decided to fly into Amsterdam first. Originally, getting into Amsterdam, my goal was to just get a good look at Amsterdam, enjoy the sights, enjoy the sounds, enjoy myself there. I was planning on just staying there, seeing if anybody was flying in that day. I know Carl Koenig, he was flying in. I wanted just to hang out with him, but then I think a day or two before, I found out that Large Pog was renting a car and was like going from he was flying in the day before, renting a car and then traveling from Amsterdam to Belgium to meet up with everybody who was doing all the tour and everything already. So, kind of an interesting little thing. So I was like, okay, yeah, if you're doing this, Tommy, sure, we'll do it. Sounds like fun. So Tommy picked myself and Carl up. I flew over overnight. So flew United. Originally booked the exit row, the emergency exit row, not realizing that it was also one of the rows where you couldn't store your backpack underneath. So I wanted to have my bag, and unfortunately, I did this thing where I moved back 2 rows into just an aisle seat, and sat there, slept most of the way, watched a movie, just watched the movie Fall Guy. Not a bad movie. One of those movies that you feel good for watching on an airplane, but you don't want to see in the movie theater. But no brain action movie, but that's the kind of movie I like on a plane. So landed in Amsterdam really early in the morning, a little chilly, but the airport was nice. Tommy picked us up. He rented a Mercedes-Benz C-Class. We put all our stuff in it and gave Carl the front seat because it sounded like he was exhausted. And we drove from Amsterdam to the city of Bruges in Belgium. After a little bit of parking mishaps, we met up with the crew out there. It was Koen, Cedric, Jaron, or as I like to call him, Dr. Alec. Met up with those guys. They were showing around Fred, Robbie, AJ, Barry. Who else am I missing? Casey. Who else am I missing? Chris Worfs and Dennis. So we met up with them. We got a nice little tour of Bruges. We got some really good pasta, like amazing place. They showed us there. It was like, and got some Belgian waffles. Oh my gosh, the Belgian waffles! I want another Belgian waffle now. And then we got a boat tour of the city, which it was nice. It was relaxing. It was a nice day. Then we took the train from Bruges to Hull or Hale, or I forget the city that we were heading in. Got our room. I had a room with with Carl, and which wasn't bad. But then I got used to the fact that in Europe they don't have AC. That was kind of I wouldn't say frustrating, or it was a new experience to me. But roomed with Carl, it was really good. Had a burger for dinner. Went to a little pub. Half the people wanted to go there. Half the other ones went to an Egyptian restaurant. And I'm like, well, I can't go to the Egyptian restaurant because they wanted to go to a Greek restaurant. And I'm like, I can't do Greek because apparently I'm allergic to tzatziki sauce. I didn't know that until I had some about a year ago and had an allergy mishap. But still, the burger was really good. The beer was really good. Everything was by far amazing. Oh no, I didn't have beer that day. I lemonade. I've been drinking a lot of lemonade recently, and I've been loving it. But I went to bed. I think I passed out around like 8, 9 o'clock at night. People were playing games, but I was exhausted from flying. Got recommended by Matt Crowley and Justin Crowley to stay up as late as I could the first day I show up, so I would be well rested the rest of the trip. And honestly, it worked. Like, I went to bed in a normal hour. I got up on a decent hour the next day. Had an amazing breakfast at the hotel that we were staying. Found out the guy who was helping out with the hotel, or the breakfast and everything, was the owner of the place. So really, really good breakfast. Again, I got to experience the fact that Europeans don't drink a lot of like sugary, sweet coffee. So had an experience with that. Like I'm more of a sweet kind of a coffee drinker. So, but it was still really good. Then we all packed up. I got the pleasure of sitting in the front seat of the seat class this time. Carl figured, oh well, you're a kind of a bigger guy. It would make more sense for you to sit up front. And I'm like, so thankful that you did, Carl. Big props to Carl. Big props to Tommy too. But it was myself, Tommy, Carl, Dennis, and Chris Werfs all packed into the car. Went from Belgium to Bochum. Had my first experience of a disdain towards Americans as we stopped for gas and some food. The gas station attendant, which was I will say this, like, aside from the fact that you have to pay to use the toilets, I loved the choices that we had at their gas station. Just amazing. It's not your stereotypical American gas station. It's more of you have that aspect, but then there was like a little restaurant off to the side, and again, just everything was nice. It, like, the countryside was beautiful. Loved it. And we got to Bochum. Had a little bit of a mishap at the Acora. I had emailed them. So originally what happened was I set the reservation back in February and reserved just a standard room, no thrills, no nothing, everything. And then about a month or so before the event, Robbie was looking for a room. I said, hey, I got a reservation. I'll change it, see if we can get, like a double room, and we'll go from there. So I emailed the Acora. I sent them, I went onto their website. I did everything that you're supposed to do to change your reservation. And I also changed the dates. So I show up on Thursday, and they're like, well, we don't have your reservation because your original reservation was for Wednesday to Monday. And I'm like, but I changed it. Here's all the evidence. So thankfully, I was able to get the room, but unfortunately, they didn't have the double room. So I had the standard room. So once Robbie showed up, thankfully, J.C. Smith had a spare bed, and Robbie was able to room with JC. So for the first time in a long time at a Star Wars event, I actually had a room to myself, which was kind of nice. Again, there was no AC, no fridge, but made do. Got a fan for the room, which helped. Drew the blinds and made sure that the curtains were all drawn, so that way the sun wouldn't impact when it come into the room and everything. But Tommy, Carl, we all went for a beer trip. Found out beer is insanely cheap. Water, like, everything was so much cheaper over there compared to what it is over here. And really nice, kind of a shocking experience. But after we got back, everybody decided, we all went down to the Four Winds, met up with the Europeans, met up with Kevin, and did Kevin's trivia contest. Thursday night trivia contest is impossible challenge. Oh my gosh, he was kind of right. It was impossible. Thankfully, Mark and John gave us the cheat codes for Kevin. This is a kind of a family show, so I'm not going to say what those cheat codes are. But Kevin has some cheat codes, so we got a lot of free packs from Kevin. But at the same time, the trivia contest was fun. If you want to know, if you want to test, if you know Star Wars CCG, go to a European event and do Kevin's trivia contest. Apparently, there's only 2 people he's ever really banned. There's only one person he's ever really banned from the contest, who was Emil. I think it was Eric or Hayes who was on that next level savant when it comes to Star Wars CCG. So technically, Hayes' team won, but if you're based on prizes, my team won. So, but again, really fun night. Ended up going back. We stayed at the bar for a little bit. I ended up going back to the room. Again, was kind of tired just because, again, the traveling, not necessary, like getting not a lot of rest, but still just wanted to get some sleep. So Friday night, or Thursday night, sorry, went to bed, woke up Friday for the Star Wars Unlimited game. Didn't get breakfast with anybody. Ended up going to a little shop on the way. I think I forgot what I had for breakfast. Oh, I had a donut. I had a donut and some coffee. Or no, and an energy drink. But played in the Star Wars Unlimited event. First round. So I ended up, again, I brought 4 decks with me. I took Sabine, Bo-Katan, Blue, which was what I was thinking I wanted to play. I played it once. It's super quick, super fun. Just throw a lot of guys at everybody, do a lot of fresh damage. But I realized, maybe I don't want to put a lot of emphasis on myself. Maybe I'd rather just play kind of cool. I play a lot of Commander, Magic Commander, and I also played some Twin Suns before the event. So, again, deck I wanted to play, but I decided against it. I also took Bo-Katan, the Mandalorian. Again, deck I wanted to kind of try out, but at the same time I was like, I got other decks I wanted to do. Played and built a Boba Fett, the new Boba Fett plus Rey. Red was gonna play. I was thinking of playing that, but I believe it was Mark who needed a deck. He ended up bringing a deck that he couldn't play, so I was like, here, just play my deck, have some fun with it, enjoy it. And then I also the deck I went with was Iden Vader Green. Kind of you control what's going on at the same time has a lot of sustain to it. So I went with that. The first round was in a pot of 4, ended up coming second. We had I think it was John who played Leia, Sabine. I forget what the base was, but he ended up winning by sitting there and really doing nothing. Second match, again, took second to my own deck, the Boba Fett Rey deck. So kind of happy that that deck really performed well, and at the same time, but kind of upset because I came in second. But then in the last round, I ended up winning that pod, so that felt good. It was against him, but at the same time, I realized, based on how Kevin was running the event, I think I took third to Emil and John. So funny, John did really nothing, and he took first. So got some cool swag out of that, but it was really fun. Friday night was the team event. Tommy was going to play, but he couldn't because he had a job interview, which ended up getting pushed back due to technical difficulties. So he was going to play, so he dropped out, and his partner Patrick ended up being my partner. So Patrick ended up playing My Kind of Scum. I believe it was Greedo as his rep, and I went with WAP. So the first round, I got paired up against Scotland Grell. Scott was playing a Tatooine CRV type of a deck that ran like Maul with the Tatooine Darth Maul, and it was an interesting little deck. But he ended up beating me. It was more of a space deck, and with my WAP deck, I couldn't really do much against it. So, made one clear error. Realized afterwards that Scott used short range fighters and Talon roll, or no, short range fighters and the combo card to substitute a Destiny, whereas with Admiral Yularen, you are not able to do that. So, mistake number one. Second game I played. Second game I honestly don't remember. I should have written this down. But again, with WAP, it was just not a good day for WAP. The WAP deck that I built was not what I was going to play. So again, I just wanted to play something kind of fun. And then the round 3, I played against Julian, or maybe Julian was round 2. But I did play against Julian's Revenge of the Sith and Vader deck, and I don't remember the outcome of that match, but it was fun. It was fun. I went 2-1. Patrick ended up going, I believe, 2-1. So we finished kind of good, but at the same time, nowhere near the top. Of course, the top went to Brian Fred and Emil. After that, went back to, had a few beers, enjoyed our time there at the Four Winds, and then went back and met up with the guys. Had talked a little bit about decks for Saturday, and we all went to bed. That night, I think it was Carl and AJ who suggested. So I found out that AJ was playing 0 Hour. We were both playing 0 Hour, and one of the cards that we decided to put into our deck that as a tech for against all the, we figured that Revenge of the Sith Vader was our worst matchup. So one card that we decided to put into the deck was Harksef Non-B. And the reason we did that is if we can keep Harksef on the table, we can reduce the force loss to any of the drains around us. Even though we can't cancel the drains or the drain bonuses or all the drains at a site, we can reduce the force loss. So we went with Harksef as our answer to Revenge of the Sith Vader. So go to bed, wake up, go to the Four Winds, have, again, a great breakfast, a great German breakfast, and get ready for day one. So I have a list of who I played on day one, so I'll be moving that down as we go. First match, after Kevin Yop was announced into the Hall of Fame. Again, big props to Kevin for doing that. Our Euro Emperor, Chris Menzel, announced it and gave a great speech. Giving big congrats to Kevin for getting into the Hall of Fame. Well deserved. The man puts out such an amazing event. He helps with all the foils. Clearly deserves to get into the Hall of Fame. So congrats to Kevin. My first game against was my Dark Side, Revenge of the Sith Maul versus Casper Jorgensen's Hitco. He got down early. He got a Luke out early to his Endor site. I figured that was the go-to, so I go out and get a Darth Maul with Lord Maul with lightsaber plus the Phantom Menace down kind of early as well to one of my locations. I had a lot of I had the force field in my hand, and I figured, okay, I'm pretty safe against anything he comes down with. So he's draining me for a couple turns. I'm draining him. We're doing our trains, and then eventually I go down and clear off his Luke with an Aplak and another character. I forget which character it was. I want to say it was either Mara Jade with lightsaber or or a Kylo Ren with lightsaber. One of the two. Cool. So after that, we progress. He eventually does go out to space with a Han Chewie the Falcon. I go to space first. He responds with Han Chewie the Falcon, and we chase each other around from space. So we did fight a few turns. Unfortunately for me, every time we would fight, I wasn't losing characters, but I was losing the battle by like 1 or 2. So I was peeling cards, but on top of that, I was losing cards to I Feel the Conflict. What really occurred was, one, I forgot to utilize the epic event and make him lose a force every time he was losing Jedi. and I ended up killing 2 Lukes in the game and at least an Obi-Wan, so that's 3 force there. Another instance where I fight him up in space. I have Zuckuss and Misshunter against a. He has the Profundity. And we fight. I forget to add 2 to the power of the Zuckuss and Misshunter, and unfortunately, even though I draw high enough to essentially negate all the battle damage and I would actually win the battle, I end up losing a force to the battle plus a stack on I Feel the Conflict. So a lot of unforced errors in the game, and honestly, like, I don't think I could have won the game just because of how much damage I was doing to the battles. It was a close game. I think there was like maybe 6 or 7 differences in it before I ended up scooping to him. But yeah, I lost game 1 to Casper. What made it even worse was Casper and I were both on our we're both partners in the team event. So one of the things that the Europeans put together is that each member, anybody who's a part of the day 1 and do encourage max participation in the main event, is they put everybody together into teams, and it was they put everybody together in teams and award winners some prizes at the end. So unfortunately, Casper and I were on the same team. We also had Hayes on our team, the Euro Emperor, and I forget the last person. We had like 1 or 2 more people as well. So it was essentially a team kill for Casper, but again, Casper took game 1. Game 2 was, again, my light side versus Ice Plains, Mr. Eric George's Agents of Black Sun. So Agents of Black Sun is a deck that I played a decent amount. Like I said earlier, I took it to the Eclipse event. I played it in a very high. Almost all of my games were against either Hitco or sometimes the mains decks with Agents of Black Sun. So he goes down early. He got the Emperor out. Like, he had a good opening hand. He got his location. He didn't have to pull it with the. He didn't have to do the whole Vigo pull change. So he got his main location out early. Got the Emperor out early and was in a really good spot. Eventually, I dropped down my characters to Lothal, flipped, and I also got Hera and I believe Hera and Cassian onto the Ghost. So at that point, he goes down with like IG-88 plus Riot Gun, some other characters down, and tries to hurt me in the battle. Thankfully, I have Blaster Deflection, I have Dodge, I have all the tricks that I need. And I play around his Sense copy. So I pulled the Sense Shield because I know it's AOBS. You play Sense in AOBS. So I pulled my Sense Shields and I withstood his initial attack. Eventually, he did go to space. And he went to space by leaving Dr. Afra at a location by herself, forgetting to shuttle her up to the Faline's Fist. So I used Hanji the Falcon, made some strikes against his Faline's Fist, but ended up having to lose the Hanji the Falcon at later in the game. Now he deploys Euthreepio against me, and I just, again, is blocking the drains there. But between the damage that I'm doing from being flipped and draining, as well as negating a lot of the damage that he's doing by using like Ahsoka Tano and the new Sabine card to block all of his characters with EPP characters, I'm essentially out damaging him and end up winning the game. So really, really good match by Eric. Really great guy to talk to. Again, he's Ice Plains. I found out that he was one of the bigger players on Deck Tech back in the day. So he's done a lot of tournament reports. He actually has his own tournament report. So make sure you guys check that out here after you are done watching mine. So game 3, I get paired up against Scotland Girl again, and this time it's my light side again 0 hour against Scott's dark side, and Scott flips over court, and by revealing what he is playing with, he starts over his starting effects, and I realize that he's playing Power of the Hut V, Jabba's Haven, and then the Dagok War Beast. This immediately tells me Scott is playing musicians. So between Scott just playing court, me taking court damage pretty early and repeatedly because I need to set up on ground and get all my local stuff going, Scott is up to an early lead. Scott does come down with, I would say, there was a turn where Scott came down with like 4 or 5 musicians against one of my lone characters. I believe it was Keenan. Thankfully, I had the Hujix. I was able to Hujix out of that. But after that, I did re-grab my Hujix with Unita, because against this deck, I know that I would want Hujix a lot. Scott just had no lost pile, because every time he was deploying a musician, he was retrieving a musician. Or he was retrieving cards. The other problem that I faced was I never found Hera or the Ghost. I pulled, this is my ship on my first turn. Notice that the Ghost and Hera, and again, I'm playing 2 copies of Hera, by the way, were in my reserve deck. Unfortunately, after the first turn, they were never to be found in my reserve deck again. I did draw into the Ghost, but I never saw Hera for the rest of the game. So that between Scott just retrieving his entire lost pile, not finding Hera, not getting into space, and just the relentless abuse of his musicians, I decided, you know what, I'm going to cut my losses, and ended up scooping that game. So starting off, again, 1-2. Not the best start, but as I told Tommy earlier in the trip, my goal was to go 3-5 or better. Not saying that I'm the worst Star Wars player, but I realized that there's a lot of good players in the game who were going to be there at the event. I wanted to make sure that I set really realistic expectations for myself. So game four, I got paired up against a player who is really good, like really good. I got paired up against Kieran, and this was a fun game. It was Kieran's Hitco versus my Revenge of the Mole deck. Kieran is a no-nonsense type of a player. Outside of the game, he's one of the nicest guys ever, but holy crap. Oh, wow. Pete Rose passed away today. Dang. Kieran was no nonsense. There was a point, he goes down. Again, we're doing like we normally do. He gets out Luke, I get out Maul. We're threatening drains, and he actually invades Tatooine. He doesn't go to the Endor sites, but he does go down to Tatooine. So, eventually he comes down with Luke. I'm able to get out of the battle. Some of the things that happened in this game, again, kind of fuzzy, but some of the key moments were I think I had Sidious Nuke Gunray against his... I had Maul at another site. I had Sidious Nuke Gunray, and I want to say Dr. Avazan against his Qui-Gon Jinn, Cassian, and Hera. So, and Luke was at one of his locations as well, was another Tatooine location. Survived that battle and was able to keep Sidious on the table. And for most of the game, he was running around chasing me and trying to battle into me. Well, there was a turn where I got the cards that I needed, and I was actually able to take over his the Luke's Endor Vader's Endor Pyre site with P-59 and I believe Erica. So he goes down with like Lando, attempts to clear me. I end up doing damage to him. There was a point in the game where he attempted to swing at me, drew both of his Destiny really fast. I'm like, whoa, I have an action to do one of those Destiny, because next time make sure you say draw one at a time. I'm like, okay, sorry, I'll do that better next time. I don't think there was any little guards or anything, but I noticed that Kieran is a very fast type of a player. I'm a fast type of a player, and I was even amazed at how fast he was moving. But the big swing of the game was Kieran separated Luke from Obi-Wan and Hera. And I was tracking around Destiny where I was able to use... and Kieran had one Destiny left. I had enough, and I play Maul Strikes on his Obi-Wan with lightsaber. On his turn during his draw phase. So I draw high, he draws... I think he drew a 5, and I think I drew like a 5 and a 3, where Obi-Wan goes lost. So now Hera is by herself against a Lord Maul with lightsaber. And mind you, Kieran had lost his Hujix at another point in this game, so I knew he didn't have it, even if he... And he just conceded it at that point, because he knew that a beat down was coming down on Hera. So I moved to 2-2. I'm kind of happy. We do take a break for a group picture outside of the 4 wins, and on top of that, we get another Hall of Fame presentation where Hayes is inducted. Big congratulations to Hayes. Hayes, over the past year or two, has been a very big help to me in helping me grow as a player. So could not be happier for Hayes making it into the Hall of Fame. So moving on to Game 5 then, I play my dark side against Bill, and I don't know Bill's last name. So I'm assuming he's like Madonna or Ichiro. Has his first name, and that's it. So Bill was playing EBO, and my entire plan this game was I'm going to put as few characters onto the table as I can, and in doing so, I'm going to make sure I have the tricks to provide to survive in space if I need to. Bill flips. The other thing that I noticed was Bill flipped over squadron assignments. So I'm like, okay, and I realized he's kind of watered his deck down a little bit for the matching pilots portion. So, I first turn get out. I think I open-handed the audience chamber, and I had Prince Shizor in my opening hand, so I go audience chamber, and I just get out my activation. In turn 2, again, I checked to see what's in my deck, and the card that I needed was in my deck, and I was so happy for it. So I activate and use the audience chamber to pull Galid. So, funny enough, before the event, I'm hitting up Brian Fred, and I'm like, dude, I need a Galid. He goes, don't you own a Galid? I'm like, yeah, but I don't know what happened to it. That's my only copy. And he goes, I can give you one after the event. And I go, B-Fred, I need this for the event. So B-Fred came in clutch and got me my Galid. So thank you, Brian. I would not have done as well as I did if I didn't have the Galid. So Brian ships me out the Galid. So I got the Galid, and again I go Galid and Shizor out to the audience chamber. And then I draw a few cards, and then the next card that I draw was Erica V, and I'm like, okay, this is good. So I go Erica on my next turn. I go Erica V plus Dr. Ebzen and Ponda Baba. So I occupy 3 sites, the 3 sites that I own, and I deploy Resistance, which is obviously the card that I really needed in this matchup. Bill does get out Echo Base Operations and starts draining me up in space. This is where things get a little interesting. There was a point in the game where Bill goes to drain me. He goes, "It's a drain of 4." I go, "Okay, it's capped at 2." He goes, "No, it's a drain of 4. You have to announce this that resistance is on the table, or it's a drain of 4." And I'm like, "But it's capped at 2." So and he goes, "Yeah, but you have to announce that you're only losing 2." I'm like, so again, I think it was just a communication barrier, and we both understood what each other was saying eventually, with some help from I think it was Casey. Who was sitting next to us. I forget who was sitting next to us. I could look, but I could look. Yeah, because I want to give a prop out. I want to give props out to props who gets it. Table 5. Oh, it was Jeron. Jeron explained it. Was able to get past the language barriers and help us out. So, yeah, we ended up. So I was losing 2 to his drains. He was losing 6 to my drains. Because he only at that point, I think he only occupied he occupied 2 systems, so he was training me for 2 and 2, and then I was training for 2 and 2 for 6 total. On top of that, I was retrieving 1, so essentially I'm doing 6 to his 3. Eventually, I go P59 down to the Hoth Endor, the first marker. So on his turn, he goes Lando Calrissian Scoundrel. And I barrier. So then he moves Major Brenderlin, sorry, Matt, over to in with Lando. And I just get the most evil idea on my head. So my next turn, I activate. And I place Sniper Dark Strike during my control phase to shoot Lando. I end up hitting Lando, making him go lost and causing 2 points of damage. Then on my turn, I drain the rest of the sites, and then I initiate a battle against the Major Brenderlin. End up hitting Major Brenderlin, causing 2 more damage, winning that battle. But before I do that, I play No Escape to get the Sniper Dark Strike back, because I realize this might become in handy later in the game. His next turn, he drops Qui-Gon Jinn with lightsaber against my Dr. Evazan combo. I barrier the the Qui-Gon Jinn against him. Then I deploy our Lord Maul with lightsaber against his Qui-Gon. Initiate, swing, and hit Qui-Gon with the track 6. Or no, I'm sorry, I did not track because I played Sniper Dark Strike to add 3, so I made sure I hit. So I hit Qui-Gon, operated, and make a Qui-Gon go lost. So at that point, I think Bill scooped. So I go 3 and 2. I'm now 3 and 2. I have my goal. I have my 3 wins. I'm happy. I'm ecstatic. I'm like, okay, I'm at my point. I just need to finish so I can start drinking and having real fun. This is where things get crazy. So my next game is against Julian, who, again, I play in the team tournament. It's his Rots Vader against my 0 Hour. So I open-handed 2 cards that came in really handy this tournament. Those 2 cards were they're tracking us and Rebel Barrier. Julian gets out his... so he goes and deploys Lord Vader. He's got the I Am Your Father and everything he needs in his hand. So he goes Lord Vader via the Mustafar Vader's castle. Well, actually, I'm sorry. During his control phase, I activate 1. He deploys Lord Vader. I barrier. Vader's stuck. Because he would have been able to get Lord Vader out to the Cloud City site and then teleport him from Cloud City to Lothal. So on my next turn, I activate and play this is my ship, so that way I can get out Hera and the Ghost. Play the Coward Shield so he doesn't drain me. He then moves Vader over. He does the teleport and everything. Well, actually, he teleports directly to Lothal. That's when I drop down Kanan, and I believe it was Ezra to Lothal, so I can flip. And I think I deployed somebody else too, so that way I can actually have pull ultimatum. And that's actually what I do. So I pull the ultimatum shield, and so I reduce his drain from a drain of 4 down to 2, essentially. Or I cap it at 2. He comes down, tries to battle me, but I have all the tricks I need. There was a point where he does play Vader's anger on me, and it was to add to his total battle destiny, where I grab that with my grabber. He does go to space with the Eli Vanto and the Dreadnought. I end up actually chasing him around in space, but in the meantime, he's got Lord Sidious on the table, and all I'm doing is I'm just moving my characters around, not letting him battle me. And if I am battling, if he is battling, I have my tricks. I have my dodge, my Hujixes, my barriers, everything I need. I think I played barrier on him like 4 times that game. But I'm chasing him around in space, draining. I have the Honshu and the Falcon out. I have a loaded up Ghost, and I'm just draining and between me controlling what's going on the ground and just chasing him up in space, I'm able to drain him enough to win out that game. I don't win that game if he goes turn 2, or not even turn 2, turn 1.5 during my first turn to Lothal. If I don't have they're tracking us, I lose that game. I'm almost positive. So now I'm 4-2. And I'm in kind of uncharted territory. So, interesting. My next game, and I'm going to say this, outside of like everybody who I already given props to, some of the biggest props that I have to give to are to Barry Alperstein. And the reason I have to give major props to Barry is Thursday, before leaving Belgium, Barry wants to play a game of Star Wars. So I go in my bag and I pull out Revenge of the Sith Vader, and I pull Bat 40 out. Barry and I play, and Barry trounces Bat 40 with my Revenge of the Sith Vader deck. It is at that moment I decide I'm not playing Bat 40, I'm playing 0 Hour. So Brian, Fred, AJ, and I think Carl too, go through my 0 Hour and tweak it to make it better. I go from playing 1 Sabine to 2, go from playing 1 Hera to 2, I go from playing 2 Mandalorian mishaps to 1. I go from playing Luke Skywalker V to 2 Luke Skywalker with lightsabers. Completely do the deck that you see on the feed over there. So big props to Barry. Who's my Game 7 opponent? Barry. It's his Watch and Step versus my Lord, my Maul, Rot's Maul. So my turn. So we set up, and I go directly down to the cantina with Maul. And I've got Stunning Leader in hand. I get everything I need to protect Maul. Barry goes to Tatooine, and I drain him for 3. Barry loses both Corellia and Kessel, I think, early on, either the first or second drain, and I think that was Barry's big mistake. So Barry completely takes over my 2 systems, my now Hutta and my Rendalee. So he's draining for 2 of both of those, and he's got Tatooine. I go Arca, Maul, and Sidious down to the ground, and that's pretty much the start of the game. So Barry's draining for me, I'm draining Barry. He can't cancel my drains, I can't reduce his. Eventually, I go down. He goes down to Jabba's palace, and I'm chasing him around Jabba's palace with like Prince Shizor and like Kylo Ren, Aura Singh. He does drop Luke Skywalker on me, and I'm able to get rid of Luke eventually, so I can start retrieving with Erica. And eventually, I just clear him off the ground, and I get Zuckuss and Misthunter up in space, so I'm blocking one of his drains up in space. I'm doing a little bit of damage there with First Strike. And the entire time, Barry's like, I don't know how to play this matchup. I think you're going to win this, Dan. I'm like, no, I'm not going to win this. I'm not going to win this. And Barry's losing force really quickly, and I'm slowly not losing force. Because Barry, I realize that I'm actually out draining. I'm actually out damaging Barry slowly. And Barry he's not retrieving. He doesn't have Kessel, so he doesn't get his Kessel right now. And I end up beating Barry to go 5-2, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. So go outside, get some air, cool off, and I'm sitting at 5-2, and I'm like, I might have a chance to this. What happens if I go 5-3? There's no way I'm gonna make it. There's gonna be too many good players at 5-3. And I talked to Barry. Barry and I talked to B. Fred. And then game 8 comes up, and I know it's my light side, a deck that I feel kind of confident with. And I'm paired up against somebody who I played a few times, and every time I play him, I get frustrated because I've never beaten him. And it's a player who I choose repeatedly in my fantasy team because I have a lot of faith in him. And, of course, I'm paired up against Mike Kessling. Mike is playing Revenge of the Sith Vader. I know I'm up for the game of my life. So we sit down and I look at my opening hand. What is in my opening hand but Rebel Barrier, and they're tracking us. The two cards that I swear just made it so Saturday was my day. So again, they're tracking us to activate a force. Mike goes and grabs Vader. My Barrier Vader. Mike just looks at me like, really? Really? And I'm like, mind you, I'm shaking. I'm nervous. It's Mike Kessling, one of the best players of Star Wars right now. So again, then I go get Hera, and I go to space, and I just leave Hera by herself on the Ghost. Mike does what Mike does. He goes and moves Vader over, grabs the saber, passes turn. I go set up what I need to on the ground, and pass over to Mike. Mike then teleports over to Lothal. Start, doing Vader stuff. Mind you, again, I'm doing what I need to. I have the dodges. I have the barriers. I have the stuff to maintain what I can. Mike, again, is threatening drains of 2. So the big turn of events occurs when Mike decides he's going to go challenge me up in space. I don't have a barrier at that moment. I am flipped, so I am able to reduce or power up my my destiny, or reduce his destiny. So Mike drops down Maul in the Scimitar plus Colonel Jendon in Vader's shuttle. Gets my hair in the Ghost. Mike draws Destiny. Mike draws enough where I have to lose 1 card in Hera. So I peel, and I lose Hera. Ezra, thankfully, is on the table, and I have a force save, so I use Ezra to get Hera back into my hand. On my next turn, I deploy Hera. In my hand is Wedge Antilles. When I deploy Hera, I get a card with Kanan Jarrus on the top of my use pile. That card is Hauntouine the Falcon. I could not believe what I was seeing when I drew that one card. So I deploy Hauntouine the Falcon. I initiate. I draw my Destiny for power. I draw my Battle Destiny. I then add 3 with you. Crap. You do have your moments. I then reduce Mike's Destiny. So that way I can keep Hera, the Ghost. I think I do throw a character on there too as well, onto the Ghost. But I kick Mike out of space. So now Mike has to pay to drain. And on top of that, I now can go from Lothal to my Mandalore and start draining for 3 just from those 2 systems. Mike does have cities on the table, but he doesn't really have much else. So a couple more turns of me draining and Mike just trying to find characters, because Mike's not able to find characters at this point. Mike then concedes for me to go 6-2. It's at that moment I go outside and I make a phone call over to Bat Mouse telling him that I am 6-2. I don't know if I'm in the top 8 or what. And at that moment, I'm like, I have imposter syndrome. I'm like, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not supposed to be 6-2. I'm shaking. I'm stirred. I'm shaking. I'm stirred. I'm like, oh my god, I don't know what to do. So I call Batmouse. Batmouse is ecstatic. Batmouse is the first person I tell I'm 6-2. I talk to Mike, and I feel so dejected, so wrong for taking out Mike Kessling, for beating Mike and to get to a top 8, because it should be Mike. Mike has put in the time. Mike has put in the effort. Mike has been one of the best volunteers. He's been one of the best players. I felt like I had no right to beat Mike to get into the top 8. Mike's happy for me. Brian Fred is happy for me. Bears. So many people are happy for me. And I'm still like, I shouldn't be here. This is not me. This is not. So I go get a beer. I go calm myself down a little bit. And as I'm walking by, I hear either Kevin or Tomas say that there's a clean cut. So I message Batmouse. I'm like, there's a clean cut. He goes, what does that mean? I'm like, no playing games? And the rumors are circulating that a 5-3 has made it. So that means that a 6-2 is definitely in. And it's at, I'm still sitting. I sit down. I find out that a good friend of mine, Timo Dussel, I finally get to meet. He's like 7-1. And the top 8 is. Then they go through they go through the standings and everything. Swag is given out. And so they announce they go into number 9, find out it's Mike. And again, my heart sinks a little bit because it's Mike. One of those guys that you just cannot not root for. One of the nicest guys out there. Find out that Jonas has made it into the 8th seed. Then Tomas stands up and goes, yeah, this next player, he's starting out rough, and then he finished really strong. And they go, it's Dan. I'm like, okay, so I'm number 7. So I go get my swag bag. Kevin, being the mastermind that he is, decided that so everybody who's made the top 8 gets something really cool. And obviously the number 1 player got something really, really especially cool. But Kevin made little gifts for everybody in the top 8. 1 of 1 in plexiglass little cards. So I guess this is the only one out there. R2D2 Star Wars CCG Hero. Really cool. A little thing. So anybody who won like the team tournament got one. The top 8 all got one, and then if you won the constellation, you got one as well. So really cool little thing from Kevin. Again, but at this point, it's Kevin. How could you not know he's going to do something amazing? So I have another beer. I'm talking to Timo. He's in the top. He's number 1 seed. Find out it's it's Timo, Patrick, my partner from the team tournament, Emil, Eric Hunter, Hayes, Joe, myself, and Jonas in the top 8. And I'm like, I should not be here. These are all world-class players, and I'm in the top 8 with these players? What the heck? So again, I have another beer, have a burger, because I really haven't eaten yet today, or that day. And at that point, everybody's like, you should go to bed. You go to bed. I'm like, okay, fine. So I go back to the hotel. I drop off a lot of my stuff, go meet up with AJ, Carl, Connor. Connor was there helping out. He helped out Timo, and then he helped out myself. Andrew Moss, another big helper. And they helped me with my decks for day 2. Decided I'm sticking with 0 hour. I know the deck. Make a few changes. Make like one change. The change that I made was I took out I took out a Luke with lightsaber for Luke Skywalker V to give myself some sustain. I took out Leia Rebel Princess for Princess Leia V because she adds the Battle of Destiny with Vader. She adds with Han. I don't think she has with. I think she has with Han. And she has some react ability. She has like a lot of better. She has more useful tech in case I run into like a Rots Vader or a Rots Maul. And then I decided I'm playing Rots Vader, and after making the top 8, Beat Fred gives me the idea of taking out the entire space package, playing We Mess Accelerator plans for the bridge, and essentially giving my opponent only one icon. And I like the idea, because if I play Hitco, I like that idea. Limit Hitco, leave in some of my tricks for it, it should be fine. So, edit up the decks, throw in limited resources, because it's really good at match play. Thank you, Garrett. And go to bed. Wake up the next morning, go to the bar early, find out they're still closed. So, hang out there, get a good breakfast again, and then start the top 8. For the pairings, interesting enough, Tomas put down the names of the top 4, shuffled up names, and first went to Timo. Timo picked Hayes, Patrick picked Jonas, and then Emil picked, he subverted his pick and gave it to Bastion, and Bastion picked me. So the one player I did not want to play, and who literally my plan going into the top 8 was literally, if I play anybody, I'm ready for everybody but Emil. And of course, like I say, before the top 8 to Emil, hey, if you play against me, please go easy. So I sit down as the higher player. He decides who goes first. He wanted to play his Watch Your Step. So Rots Vader versus Watch Your Step. Pretty much how you think it would go. I get out Vader early, throw him out at the cantina, start draining for 3. Emil goes to he goes to Tatooine, pulls a card with Mirex, sets up all of his fun stuff with Kessel, and eventually gets out Menace Phase. Menace Phase and turns all my drains from drains of my drain bonuses off. Now, mind you, I have Lord Sidious with his lightsaber, I have Vader with his lightsaber, and those draining bonuses go away. He's draining for 3 up at Kessel, and eventually it gets to the point where he has Kessel, Tatooine, and I have 3 locations going. Like I control all of his ground sites. Then he comes down with his squad of smugglers, Luke, and Mara Jade. That's when after he completes his Kessel run, things go from good to bad. He takes over one site, so Menace Phase is now in effect. He avoids the crap out of my Vader and my Sidious. There was a point where I go and try and battle him using Vader's Obsession and move Vader over at the start of my battle. He has Mara Jade with R2V. He tries to dodge away Mara. Unfortunately, and after a rules check, I say, no, you're not allowed to do that. And he goes, we call the judge. Tomas agrees with me. So props there. But he has the Scomp Link V card. So now he's able to cancel the battle. So I go from trying to beat down Mara to him canceling that battle. And from that point, he has, like I said, between all the damage he's doing up in space, he doesn't have to pay for his drains. I do. He ends up winning by 15. Now, I will say this, though. Big props to Carl for loaning me out the card. I was able to play limited resources on him after draining him at a site at the cantina. So I pay 3 to drain. He loses 2. He's got 4 cards in hand. He loses 2. He goes down to 2. And I go limited resources, lose 4 more. Big props there. So again, he wins game 1 by 15. There's the lost piles. He has like 17 as lost pile to my 45. So I'm in an extremely big uphill battle. Find out he's playing Agents of Black Sun for his dark side against my 0 hour. Again, early on, he does his flip stuff. I'm able to get Luke out, but after that, it's literally like I have like Sabine, Ahsoka, and Ezra at a location. He comes down with Boba Fett, Bounty Hunter, Aura Singh, and another character against me. Battles, plays hidden weapons, grabs my Ahsoka, causes a lot of battle damage. So I have to play the Hujix. He grabs the Hujix, thinking I only play 1. No, I play 2. And honestly, at that point, I have space. He comes down with the First Light, Falling's Fist to Lothal. And honestly, we're just trading blows back and forth. But between the damage that he did early, I knew what was going to happen. And after another beatdown and just trying to sustain in the game, I end up conceding to Emil. So that's my top 8 experience. So afterwards, Bastion has wanting to draft Star Wars Unlimited, so I go do that. I draft a pretty mean Scar Saxon deck. Play against Casper in the first. We pair up. I play against Casper. I was merciless against Casper. Find out this was his really first time experience playing in Star Wars Unlimited, but again, really mean Gar Saxon Tron deck. Really fun to play. I actually end up passing on a Maul for the Vibrance Tripwire Hyperspace Foil card just because it looks pretty. But pair up against Carl. I take game 1, Carl takes game 2, and then I take game 3. So after that, we all start. Kevin, with his swag mastery, gives out Grand Beezer's packs full of images for everybody who's there. Everybody's like trying to complete a complete set. I know Large Porg has completed one. We all trade cards to get cards and do that until the bar is closing. The top 8 or the finals are still going on. Find out it's Joe versus Emil. I'm kind of rooting for Emil just to say I lost to the world champ, but at the same time I'm rooting for Joe because it's Joe and America. But at the same point, I'm realizing, you know what? At this point, I'm not going to root for anybody because it's a community and we all love each other. Go have an amazing steak dinner with the entire, like I would say half of everybody that was there. Oh my god, that steak. I still am drooling over the food, the beer, the alcohol. Oh my gosh. Everything Sunday night was just perfect. I'll head back over to the Cora, have some more just hanging out. drinking, having a good time, talking, reminiscing, and next morning, I think I go back to the room at like 4 a.m. Tommy's like, "Hey, we want to leave to go to Amsterdam at like 5:30." I'm like, "Okay, I can stay up." I end up passing out, waking up at 5 a.m. just by happenstance. Take a quick shower. Thankfully, most of my stuff's packed at this point. Throw the rest of my stuff in my bag. Hop in the car with Tommy, AJ, Werfs, and Carl. Get to Amsterdam. Hop on my flight. Got lots of leg room. Nobody sitting in the middle seat. The dream is happening, and I just pass out. Come back to America, go through customs. It wasn't that big of a nightmare, just because they gave us like, there's an app now that you can like do pre-registration for customs and everything. Check my bag, find out I have a water bottle and a can of Sprite in my bag, and they're like, "Oh, that's what we call you on." Find out after going through customs that I randomly have a pair of scissors in my backpack that I didn't know about. They're my scissors, and I don't remember taking them anywhere. So, holy crap! That's my biggest luck from the entire weekend, was I made it through customs with a pair of freaking scissors. Hop on my plane back to Pittsburgh, land, and I'm exhausted. Come home, watch some football, enjoy Monday, get some food, pass out, wake up the next morning. I'm feeling a little go pick up my animals, hang out with my family, come back, and that's my world's experience. So I guess now, big props, everybody. Seriously, everybody. Like, first of all, Carl, Star Wars Den Mother, great guy. Lends out cards, gives up the front seat. Tommy making the arrangements with the car, making the arrangements for the hotel in Belgium. Robbie being so flexible, being a great guy, getting me flag after I go to bed on the night. B. Fred hooking me up with cards, being refred. Mike Kessling, all the Europeans, Kevin, Tomas, Timo, all the Europeans that I met, everybody, John, Mark. Seriously, when I say everybody, everybody's part of this props. Like, this game isn't about the game anymore. It's about the community. Like, Kevin making these amazing things. Hayes making the finals, or making the Hall of Fame. Eric for being just a great guy and being so statuesque. Everybody just pouring out, giving me big congratulations for making my first ever. This is my first ever top 8. Like, I have played this game since Endor, and this is the first ever top 8. Like, my Worlds experience, I went through this earlier today. I realize it. There's my Worlds experiences. 2006 was my first adventure with Worlds. I went 2 and 6. 2008, I don't remember how I did, and I can't find like the final standings or anything from 2008 out in Minnesota. I know I didn't do good. I know I played tanks, like CRV tanks that day. 2016, notice the 8-year gap because of the military, but 2016 out in Digable Worlds. Fun time. I forget what I played. I think it was like AOBS or something, speeders, or I don't remember. But 2018, that was the Worlds. Maybe that was, no, Digable Worlds. 2018. Oh yeah, that was the year that Bastion won his second one. Old Allies and ISB 3 and 5. 2022 was again. I want to say it was. That was the Atlanta Worlds. I played No Idea and I played CCT. No Idea did not do well, but CCT had some good games. 4 and 4. Never had a winning record when it comes to Worlds, so this is my first time. The best I've ever done in a major was probably 5 and 3, and that's in all honesty, probably I might be exaggerating. This game has meant so much to me just because of the people that I've met. Like the best friends that I've ever met. Like my best friends are made for because of this game, and it's not even the game; it's literally the community. Like there have been moments where I've just been thinking about stepping away from the game and everything, and as I said earlier, if it wasn't for the community, I I, I probably would have. And because there's been so many points where I've just been frustrated with the game. I've been frustrated at the fact that I've been trying and trying and trying to get better at the game, and I didn't see any effort. Like, I think the best showing that I ever had wasn't even major. It was like a Yavin 4 regionals years ago when Lightside Musicians first came out, and this was before the reset. And I think I went 5-3 and did better than Reed Smith, and that was my best showing. I mean, I've done well in NPC constellations. I've done well at other constellations. I've never had a good experience when it's come to any of the main events. So the fact that people like Chris Kelly, Justin Desai, Johnny Chu emailed me saying congratulations. Chris Kelly was one of the first people to message me. Logan, who is part of the Killer Bees, has given me crap. We give each other crap. He's probably one of the people that has been most excited for me making this top 8. Logan, AJ, Carl, Timo, Connor, everybody at the event. Jared Napolitano, like Jared and I haven't had the best relationship, but I think he felt like he gave me props. Phil, so many people reached out to me saying congratulations, and that I've realized, like I said earlier, I don't think I care about the accolades or any of the top 8s. Like, the things that I'm most proud of when it comes to this game is the volunteering, holo theater, helping make the game better, like little things just to keep it going for like the next generation, like seeing Benji and Apollo and Leaf, Matt Lutz's kid. Matt, again, I think he reached out too. But seeing those kids get excited to play the game, it just means so much. Over this little crazy card game that got killed off 22 years ago. Or 23 years ago. Like, the best moments for me aren't the top 8s. It's the periods after. It's sitting there after the event, just hanging out, relaxing, and just playing games with people that I've known for 20 plus years now. So, for those who watch this, thank you. It means a lot. Listen to me rabble on for the last hour and 20 minutes. I hope people enjoyed it. And hopefully I'll be around here to do some more. So, stealing the line. I think that's everything. Everything I got said. Thank you all for tuning in. May the force be with you, y'all.